Hello, welcome back. Today, let's move on with engineering design process part 2. Let's continue with the 7 steps engineering design process. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the problem definition. So we explained this PDS generically and meanwhile in a detail. Okay, now let's move on with following points like external search, internal search, evaluation and selection process, detailed design, so that will be the engineering design, prototyping refinement, as well as the last one, documentation. Let's continue, take the rope climber design as the external search explanation. So when we are talking about a rope climber, are we going to design the rope climber as a toy, or are we going to design a machine? So that is for sports or circus usage, or in nature, do we have anything to refer to? So in level 2, external search, we may think about a team uses friction wheels. Are we going to use the hoist structure, like a picture showing here? Or are we going to use the pulley profile or mechanism? Or are we going to use a ski lift mechanism for this rope climb design? When we are talking about external search, mainly we are talking about external customers. So that includes buyers, end users, government and standards, society, retailer, as well as maintenance requirement. Now let's try to look from external customers' perspective. For example, buying managers, they may have a big concern about the cost and the performance, safety concerns, ruggedness of the whole structure or the product, ergonomics design or long warranties and so on. So we need to answer all of this before we move on. Okay, retailer will look at the size or packaging. Are they attractive or small or enough to carry away? Is that okay to have a longer shelf life? Yeah, they also concern about the cost and the performance, as well as if there are any exciting features available for this product. So you can compare these two buying managers and the retailers. They may have some interest in common. Actually, that is okay. We just need to look at different perspective from different parties. So if we move to internal search, so that is talking about how to do the research within a company or organization. So when we are working on the design ideas, we may come up with some possible ideas and solutions, or we need to have a very open and non-judgmental free flow of ideas team or discussion process. So let's let go the details at the starting. So this may sound familiar to you. Actually, if you feel in the same way, I think that is you are right. This is a very common process is having in the design team. We call them brainstorming. So brainstorming will require open discussion and non-judgmental. So internal customers will include management, shipping requirement, legal team, marketing, manufacturing, and procurement. Okay. So for management, they want to make a big profit from every product that we deliver or we design. So on-time delivery is one of the key thing. Low failure risk and documentation. So the process that may be involved about the design process and the production process. And this process into conformance of company product development process requirement. Marketing team will look at how attractive the product is, so as they can do the commercial participant, so to attract the customers. So this may contribute to the very good marketing strategy. Then we can make the profit. Manufacturing will be the one of the internal customers. So in manufacturing department, they will focus more on the manufacturability, using standard formats or following schedules. Or if the manufacturing or production are following or conforms to the company documentation formats. And one more will be use of the product from the preferred vendors. So this is talking about the working relationship between the company and the vendors or suppliers. Legal team, will look at the whole process and the design. Let's make sure there's no patent infringement. So safety is also a concern from a legal team, and they need to make sure all required safety warning and the labels will appear to the surfaces or the proper location. And the design, the protection against reasonable abuse. So these need to be handled by the legal team, as well as government code and the regulations. Okay, let's move on to evaluation and the selection. Suppose we have many ideas ready, then how to choose the best idea? We can now random pick one and take and then move for the production or prototype. So we must have a system to choose and to work on that. So finally you get the best idea. So one of the ways is to have a matrix. So we can assess the ideas A, B, C, D individually or one by one by following the preset criteria. So if you say 1 to 5, 5 means the best. So finally you get the highest, the idea have the highest score. Or you can plot in such a way by setting the different properties or characteristics in different region. Then you can finally have the point located in certain region. So by doing this, you can select the, of course, most likely we'll select 1 to engineer, which is one awarded the points, highest point based on our criteria. So after selection of the best idea, we may need to proceed to the detailed design. So this considered as engineering design. For example, more abstract, then go to less abstract. So finally, we will have more and more details emerging out. For example, this is considered as an engineering drawing. So from this drawing, a trained eyes can read the information, for example, shape, size, dimension, some special features, as well as material tolerances or heat treatment requirement, and so on. Of course, after you finish the design, you must have a BOM. So BOM is the short form of bill of material. So that means the list of the components. So prototyping process is one of the important process for the product testing, and this process may involve suppliers. Transformation process is designed and the prototype model is built. So prototype test is for functionality test, so that will be accepted by the potential customers because you can do some testing, then you can provide some report by doing the prototyping testing. So if we take the case of the product, after looking back, we can say the good product design process should have the design product and services that match the needs and the preferences of the targeted customer group, or design the product that are as easy as possible to make. So this will simplify and sometimes will be cost effective. And the good product design process should be a concurrent engineering process. Concurrent means, okay, when we are proceeding with this, other process can still continue. And if we have some finding from the process, we can do the feedback immediately. We have mentioned about product manufacturing ability a couple of times. So currently, the product manufacturing ability considered as a very mature process in industry. So a group of the experienced engineers will look at the design as well as manufacturing process of the product. So they finalize and optimize everything. So as this manufacturing ability study will help to simplify the product design and the manufacturing, and then standardize the design as well as the production process. So if that is possible, we should look into the modular design for the product so as we can have the internal standard, and that will be very, very beneficial for future design process. Documentation. So this is the part to define the product, or when you receive a new product, though they will always having some instructions or the handbook for you. So inside this kind of documents, they will see how they define the function of a product, how define the design specification to achieve their functions. So prepare an engineering drawing for this product so as you can refer to them in future. So list a component of the product, so that is a BOM, and determine the equipment layout and the human resources related to this product design. So the format of the most statement in PDS will be like this. The device must have something, or the device is able to do something. The device is designed to do certain tasks. So when we are preparing this documentation, so we need to avoid mixing requirements. So one sentence per requirements. This is some guideline. So cast PDS statement in a very, very positive format. A design statement usually begins as a vague statement, like the device is to be easy to use, the device is to be safe, or the device is to be inexpensive. So as you can see that the PDS documentation is a very, very dynamic document. So that is to describe the product design specifications. So some suggestion of wording for the PDS document, for example, in a pin remover, you can use a word like the pin remover is to be light. The pin remover must work in the wet, cold, and the dusty environment. The pin remover must be safe. So the pin remover must have a 3-year warranty. So these are the examples how to describe a pin remover in a PDS document. Some more example will be must work with air pressure, to be easy to use, is to last 5 years in normal usage, and so on. That is we sell for less than $150 and is to cost less than 50 to make, is to have low maintenance needs. So all of this information will bring into the mechanical design process as well as the manufacturing ability study process. Now let's have a recap of design process part 2. So today we discussed about external search, external customers. So from this, we are trying to find out the requirement from the customers or from the external parties, followed by internal search and the internal customers. So internal search, we are talking about a product idea generation, as well as the requirement from internal departments. We consider them as the internal customers. So in the internal search, we mentioned about the brainstorming. Yeah, brainstorming should be open and how they like the details and non-judgmental. Yeah. So once you have generated enough ideas, we need to move on to evaluation and the selection process. So how can we choose the best ideas among the whole, the generated ideas? Then we can move on with the detailed design. So when we are doing the detailed design, we may involve engineering about mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, maybe computer engineering also. Then for prototyping process, then yeah, we can produce the prototype model, then to present to the customer. Meanwhile, we can have the model for testing, yeah, for testing, so as we can have the report, so we can show the data to the external customers as well as internal customers. Okay, so documentation part is quite important. So from here we define the product requirements. We define the product properties. We also need to deal with legal documents, the potential legal issues. That's why we need to have a whole process like this. So to understand the whole process of the PDS, actually we need to look at the very detailed a specific product. Then we can study more. But for this part, we only have a very generic discussion. So we are following the flow to go through the design process, part 1 and part 2. So that are 7 steps. Okay, thank you for listening. I will see you in future.